Oh, what a point to end it on.
So now this is when they're at their best. Yep. And it's when they're 12 years for this. So drink it in.
Still goes through offense.
What enough to be immortality as an athlete. 19.79. It's a goal. It's 8 goals. With the goal. Goalkeeper's missed it.
Play again.
Oh, fight him. He does the right hand and down goes Bull straight away.
Oh, what a point to end it on.
So now this is when they're at their best. Yep. And it's when they're 12 years for this. So drink it in.
Still goes through offense.
What enough to be immortality as an athlete. 19.79. It's a goal. It's 8 goals. With the goal. Goalkeeper's missed it.
Play again.
Oh, fight him. He does the right hand and down goes Bull straight away.
Oh, what a point to end it on.
So now this is when they're at their best. Yep. And it's when they're 12 years for this. So drink it in.
Still goes through offense.
down goes Paul straight away.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. My name is Kingsley Mano and I'm very happy to be here this evening to bring you up to speed with the latest happening revolving around the world of sports. So top one out menu this evening, Nigerian Cricket Federation sets new targets ahead of 2026. And coming in from Formula One, Max Verstappen continues season dominance than Palo Grand Prix. And in football, Doma United gained massive victory in Nigerian Premier Football League Match Day 7. These and many more will be yours after this short time out. Please stay with us.
Oh, what a point to end it on.
So now this is winner after best. And winner 12 years for this. So drink it in.
Still goes to Andre New Zealand.
Do I need love to be immortality as an athlete? 19.79. It's a goal. It's 8 goals.
Welcome back as the Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. Joining me on today's edition of For the Show is a man, of course, you know so well, Emmanuel Michael. Good evening to you, Michael, and welcome to another exciting edition of Sports Extraordinary.
Yeah, good evening, Kingsley, and good evening to our viewers out there.
All right, Michael, although it was really a lovely weekend, in the world of sports, where we saw a bit of, will I say a bit, I think was a very huge controversy in the English Premier League over the weekend, especially in their encounter between Newcastle United and Arsenal Football Club, and as well as other VAR controversies. So, that matches even before the match, the 11 we saw as well. But what do you make of all of this? First of all, before we take a look at that particular VAR controversy, let's take a look at the cricket down here in Nigeria. We hear the president of the Nigerian Cricket Federation, Pata, has disclosed that the federation is targeting to make Nigeria one of the top 3 cricket playing countries in Africa by 2026. Michael, do you think this will be a reality at the end of the day?
For me, I think it's going to be visible only if this word is accompanied with action. I will see it as a reality, but if only the right thing is done, because most of the times we've grown beyond coming to the media to tell Nigerians this story that we've had over time again, and at the end of it all we don't see anything different. So, but if actions is followed up with this kind of big statement out there, I think I see a bright future for the Nigerian cricket, and we can be able to carve a niche for ourselves when it has to do with cricket only if action is accompanied with words, because words alone cannot just do the job. It can't get us to where the president of the federation is hoping that Nigeria will get to, at least for Nigeria to become a force to be reckoned with when it has to do with cricket in Africa. I think there is need for us to accompany some of these big statements with the action properly, so that we can be able to achieve the desired results.
Of course, Pata disclosed this while speaking with journalists at the end of the Federation's annual general meeting in Abuja over the weekend. He said the Federation is working on 4 pillars: participation growth, proof facilities, performance, and sponsorship. What do you make of the 4 pillars he mentioned? You think with this, particular areas that cricket, of course, possibly comes 2026, I would say Nigerian cricket will rank at least top 3, in Africa?
Sure. Like I said before, at least one key area where he made mention, which I'm very excited, is about the area of infrastructure. Because if you don't have a good infrastructure on ground, then there is no way you can be able to improve when it has to do with sport. And then again, also having the mind to improve not just the infrastructure, but also the players as well. Catching them young, doing the needful, trying to look at the welfare of the players, and then when you have all these things in place, then you can be rest assured that sponsors will just naturally come to put their money, there. Why? Because seen a very fertile ground to which they can be able to, take advantage and also sell their product. But then again, if all these things are not put in place, then you can't go out there and be able to attract any sponsorship out there, because the necessary facilities are not in place and you can't grow in that way. But if all these things are properly put in place, I assure you that sponsors will naturally come, and by doing so, then we will see a massive improvement when it has to do with hockey. And in that regard, cricket, I mean to say, and in that regard, Nigeria will stand a chance of calling them a heavyweight, calling themselves rather a heavyweight when it has to do with cricket. We can be able to stand, tall and beat our heart, and say, yes, we are forced to be reckoned with. At most, we should be third or second in Africa, if all these things are properly, put in place.
Interesting. Let's see how it goes, of course, for Nigerian cricket. We hope that these words by the president of the federation, talking about Pata, will see the light of the day. Let's talk about NBA now, as the Los Angeles Lakers had the hope that their struggle in 2022 would be forgotten once the 2023 season began. Yet the team continued to struggle. LeBron James, despite his brilliance, has been unable to halt the Lakers' slide, and the team have suffered another embarrassing defeat over the weekend. Los Angeles Lakers buckle for their roster during the off-season, adding depth. However, the team has started the campaign in a dismal manner. The team currently sits at 3-3 and are licking the wounds after a defeat to the Orlando Magic, a team that has struggled for years. It's not a very good time, of course, for the Lakers, but the season just got started.
Yeah.
They still have more games to play this season. We saw how they struggled last season.
Yeah.
But when no one expected, we saw them, of course, living up to expectation. I think at the 9 minutes of the season, made it to the playoff. But LeBron James, of course, has not. We've not really seen that much progress from him so far. But like we mentioned earlier, during the off season, they actually got some couple of players. But the Lakers, of course, seem not to be that very, very competitive in the few matches that we've seen so far.
I think for me, this is the way they started last season. Don't forget, last season as well, they did not actually start pretty much on the front. But then again, at the tail end, they just try to pick, gather momentum when the season is about to kick off, and that saw them qualifying for,
Playoff.
the playoff. And we thought this season possibly they are going to build on their good performance at the tail end of last season by making sure that they grant out the necessary result. But then again, we say that it's quite unfortunate. And the time where their key man, talking about LeBron James as well, he's doing great things. It's just that his efforts, fell short of those qualities that we saw of him last time. And they put in a couple of players as well into the team. And I would say possibly because of the players have not been able to gel. I will attribute that. But then again, this is too early, for we to call. But one should expect them to build on where they stopped last season. But they have not had it very good this season. Only if they can be able to, take some solace on the fact, go back into their last season games, look at those clips of their games last season, and can be able to pick up from there. I assure you they are going to do great things. But I start right now, it's not a good one for them.
That was a good one for the Lakers. Let's bring you results from the other matches. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they actually beat Golden State Warriors 115 to 105. Michael, Golden State Warriors, they suffered a defeat, in that particular encounter.
Not surprising, because they weren't at their best. I had to watch some of the clips, at the late hours of, last night. They were not at their best, honestly speaking, and they deserve to lose that very game if there's anything to go by, because I thought they were going to put up a magnificent display. But watching the game, I was like, what? So for me, I think they did not truly deserve to win, the last weekend game.
And of course, Dallas Mavericks, they beat Charlotte Hornets 134 to 118 in that one. And Portland Trail Blazers lost to Memphis Grizzlies 70 to 66. Let's stay away from basketball now as we take a look at boxing on the show. was really an impressive outing for WBC Silver Heavyweight Champion Ifeanyi Jagba. Of course, he got his revenge over Joe Godel in their rematch over the weekend. The hard-hitting Nigerian heavyweight contender stopped Australians Godel in the fourth round of their 10th round main event at Tahoe Blue Event Center in State Line, Nevada. Ajagba improved his record to 19-1 and produced his 14th knockout. Brisbane Godel, who was still standing when their fight ended, lost inside the distance for the first time during his 5-year pro career. Ajagba has now successfully defended his WBC title, for the first time as he continues to build his name in the heavyweight division. It was really an impressive outing for Ajagba once again this time. He happily get the job done at the fourth round of the bout.
Massive display from him out there, and this is another Nigerian on the rise again when you talk about the world of boxing. And if we can be able to stay strong, and continue to pick up these vital wins against a very heavyweight, a very strong opponent rather, I think he will go a whole long way to increase his own profile as well. Don't forget the young man he just fought with. Have fought for about 5 years, haven't lost any game at all. And for Ajagba to knock him down on the fourth round, it clearly tells you the power of his punches out there. And for me, I think it's a great news, a nice one. If you can be able to build on this one, I think in the near future to come, we can possibly see him, rise to the heavyweight, champion. We have the likes of our own Bashale, not forgetting Samuel Peter. We have great boxers in Nigeria that have made Nigeria very proud, and this is another rising star that Nigeria and the world of boxing as a whole need to watch out for.
Ifeanyi Jagba, of course, doing great things at the moment in boxing. I hope, of course, he continue with this momentum going forward. Let's talk Formula One as Red Bull Max Verstappen took a controlled victory in the San Paulo Grand Prix to extend his all-time record for wins in a season to 17. Verstappen fended off a brief challenge from McLaren's Lando Norris early on before easing away to control the race. Fernando Alonso took the final podium position after a stunning drive in the Aston Martin, passing Sergio Perez Red Bull on the last lap after losing the place a lap before. Mercedes had their worst race of 2023, and Lewis Hamilton finishing 8th and George Russell retiring when running 11th in that particular one. Michael, what do you make of this Sao Paulo Grand Prix? Another win for the Red Bull guy. Talking about Max Verstappen making it 17 for him this season.
I think it was a great display from him, and I'm not surprised because from the form we've seen him this season, it clearly tells you that he's not letting anything down. He's not taking his foot off the gas because for me, I think as he stands right now, he's the best driver for now because he has equal his 16 win last season and also eclipsed that to even 17 this season. And another thing that is very disappointing is seeing Lewis Hamilton finishing in the 8th position. It clearly tells you how bad Mercedes is this season. I think there is need for them to be able to go back to the drawing board and find out what seems to be the problem, so that possibly next season we can be able to see a better competition between the Mercedes and the Red Bulls as well. But for now, I think Lewis Hamilton need to work more. But then again, we say that the Red Bull, they truly deserve this one.
Of course, Red Bull truly a deserving victory for them. But so sad that one man that everyone is actually looking forward to see him bounce back, Lewis Hamilton, is not showing any sign of bouncing back. I think the last race he had a podium finish.
Yes, when he finished
but this time
second.
it's coming up 8th. Inconsistency.
Very, very inconsistent, you want to say. Coming up second, when he finished, made a podium finish last time, I was like, happy, hoping that he's going to pick up maybe at the tail end of this season. We just have about few races to go.
About two races.
2 races to go, and we thought that maybe we are going to see the better of him at the end of at the tail end of this season. But he's continued to stutter. I think it's a very poor for them generally this season. They have not been anywhere near their best, and that is why Max Verstappen is cruising all the way.
And of course, talking about the way it ended down there in San Paulo, Max Verstappen, of course, finished fourth, London Norris second, Fernando Alonso third, Sergio Perez fourth, Lance Stroll came fifth, Carlos Sainz sixth position, Pierre Gasly seventh, Lewis Hamilton, of course, took it to the eighth position, Yuki Tsunoda took the ninth position, Esteban Ocon took the 10th position. And of course, let's move on as we bring you the latest coming from the Paris Masters. Novak Djokovic, of course, won the record, extending seventh Paris Masters trophy and 40th Masters title in total yesterday. The world number one beats on seeded Grigor Dimitrov 6-4, 6-3 in a straightforward fashion, and was really an impressive one, of course, for the man Novak Djokovic. What do you make of it? Putting up another impressive performance at the Paris Masters.
He's a master of the court, like I would always say. 58 game played so far, and won almost all of them, squaring up against someone who is just second, who is taking part as his second appearance in this very competition. It was very, very clear that he was highly favored even before heading into the game, that he's going to clinch that very well. I think Nokovic has been able to carve a niche for himself when you talk about tennis, and this put Carlos Alcaraz on a serious disadvantage, trying to chase him and to upstage him in the world number one. I think it's a big mountain for him to climb right now, because Novak Djokovic, courtesy of this win, has been able to extend the gap even more wider right now. So I think it's a big challenge for Carlos Alcaraz to also up his game to make sure that he can be able to close up the gap. But then again, he will say that it is already late, because Novak Djokovic is the man for the moment right now.
Big challenge, because Alcaraz, of course, have a very tall mountain to climb if he wants to get to that world number one sports, as it says. I think he should just go prepare himself, of course, for next year and bounce back strongly. Now, it is the 36-year-old sixth title for 2023, which include 3 Grand Slam crowns and the Masters Trophy in Cincinnati. Djokovic has been dominant on hard court this season, winning 33 matches and only losing once. Playing in his 58th Masters final, the Serb was hardly challenged by Bulgarian Dimitrov, who is ranked 17 in the world, who was playing in only his second Masters final. Elsewhere, Britain Jack Draper secured his first title of an injury-hit season by beating David Coffin 1-6, 7-6, 6-3 to win the Bergamo Challenger in Italy. The Davis Cup final takes place in 2 weeks' time, and with Dan Evans ruled out through injury, 21-year-old Draper is likely to play an important role in the GP Great Britain team. And now let's take a look at the WTA as Jessica Pegula romped past US Open champion and doubles partner Coco Gauff to secure a place in the final of the season-ending WTA finals in Mexico. She won 6-2, 6-1 in 1 hour against a fellow American in wet and windy condition in Cancun. The other semi-final between Iga Swiatek and Aryna Sabalenka was postponed until yesterday because of rain. Poland Iga Swiatek could usurp Sabalenka at the top of the women's ranking if she beats the Belarusian and goes on to win the event. Sabalenka is set to retain her world number one ranking if she reaches the final. So, talking about Aryna Sabalenka, her world number one, status could be taken away anytime.
It's under the line as it stands right now, because Iga Swiatek will not be leaving any stone unturned as it stands right now. But then again, you know that Zabalenka will be also mindful of the fact that she knows that Iga Swiatek is seriously, breathing down her neck. And for me, this will make her to want to also up her game and give out her best to make sure she stays at the world number one at the top for a quite long time. But this is what makes the WTA very interesting. When we are having this kind of competition here and there, 2 players jostling for the number one position, it helps you to also up your game. It helps you to train extra, and also help you to build more confidence heading forward. Because when you have a competitor, a challenger, a great one out there, you know that sitting at the world number one, that position is very threatened if you don't give out your best in any of game. So for me, I think we are very happy. Tennis fans all over the world is very happy to see this kind of a healthy competition out there. But then again, I will also want to say that Iga Swiatek is one lady that we can't just take. I can't take my eyes off her because of her scintillating performance so far in this competition.
All right, at this point, we'll take a short break, and when we come back from this break, we'll head down to the beautiful world of football. The Nigerian Premier Football League, of course, got into match day 7, and I tell you, we saw some interesting encounters. We'll be right back, after this short break. Please stay with us. Welcome back, Steve Sports Extraordinary on Atlantic Television Network. It's time for us to bring out the latest from football, and we'll start with the Nigerian Premier Football League as 8 matches were played across different centers over the weekend in the Nigerian Premier Football League match day 7. 17 goals were scored, 5 home wins, we saw 1 away win, and 1 score draw, and 1 goalless draw as well. Michael, what do you make of the statistics in the match day 7 in the Nigerian Premier Football League?
Average statistics you want to say, but one area I think I'm not really happy is about the ratio of goals scored. Eight games in different centers, producing 17 goals. It tells you how poor some of the strikers are in front of goals. I mean, it's about 1.3 average if you want to do the mathematics. This is the area I keep hammering, that our strikers need to improve their form in front of goals, because out of these 17 goals, I think just 2 teams produced 7 out of those goals. So the other 5 teams were able to produce only 10 goals. That is to tell you how poor it is. But then again, we also say that we have some positive to take home. Why? Because we have 1 score draw, 1 away win, very convincing, and 1 goalless draw. So for me, I think the statistics is average, but the area to which we need to improve is about this goal scoring form. We can't have 8 different matches in different centers producing 17 goals, less than 1.3% goal ratio. I think it is very, very poor for a professional club such as a professional league such as the Nigerian Premier Football League. But then again, you can't take away the fact that it was a very good week for the NPFL that we want to see, where we saw a very convincing away win and also a great home victory as well. Some of the team got 4-1 victory, and all of that. So for me, I think we'll get there gradually, but there's need for the strikers to improve. They should be more prolific and clinical in front of goals.
And as well, interesting result to so Abia Warriors maintained their home record as they beat Casino United by 2-1, Michael.
Great one for Abia Warriors. Playing at home, I think it gives them that advantage to play with more, confidence. Having your home fans behind you, which is the 12th man, at least it gives the players that confidence to, double their effort. But then again, they need to improve on their away games, because you must not win at home at all costs. Then when you go away, you lost all the 3 points. For me, this is the area they need to improve. In as much as they are good at their home ground, they need to also take that same form, when they go for a away match. If you can't get at least all the 3 points away, make sure you come back with a point.
Interesting. And of course, Bender Insurance beat Remo Stars by 1-0. Rangers beat Heartland, of course, 2-0. And with that victory, they are top four for the table.
Sure, Oriental Derby there, and Rangers truly deserve to go home with all 3 points, because I actually watched some of the footage of their game. They did a huge job out there. Thanks again to some of the fans who turned out, though it wasn't as expected, but there was a little bit improvement from their last game, that we saw on the screen of our phone. I won't say television this time around, because I had to stream the game on my phone. But there was a little bit of improvement, talking about the home fans as well. And the Enugu Rangers, they truly deserve the victory, sitting at the top of the log right now. I think they have one game at hand to play as well. It clearly tells you how far they have come.
And of course, Eyimba they beat Kwara United by 1-0. What do you make of it? Home win for Eyimba Football Club after having an abysmal outing in the African Football League.
Yeah, home win, but not all that convincing. Playing at home, winning 1-0. I mean, anything could have happened. The away team had a couple of chances to have drawn level in that game, which would have made the game, 1-1, thereby allowing them to share the spoil. But Enyimba held on tenaciously to make sure they guide all that one goal with all their heart and all their life. So for me, I think it's a great one. But like I said, it's not a convincing win for them. But all that matters is a 3 point. They need to find a way to keep grinding out this result so that they can put behind them, the dismal performance of what we saw when they took part in the African Football League.
Not a very good news at the moment, because we hear that an Enyimba player, of course, is missing. Talking about Chibike Owoye. What do you make of it? The season is still on, and he still has a contract with the team. But from what we're hearing, Philas has it that the man is somewhere in Israel trying to put up a deal with the club down there.
For me, I think it's quite unfortunate, and this is a show of unprofessionalism of the highest order. You have a contract that you've signed with a certain club here, and you picking your bags and baggage to leave, outside the shores of Nigeria in quest or in search of the greener pasture. I think it's unprofessional that you did not speak with your club did not grant you that permission to leave. You just, left incognito like that. I think for me, it's the height of unprofessionalism, and there is need for Enyimba Football Club to recall him back wherever he is, and also be able to resolve the issue amicably, because there's nothing you would tell me on earth that would want to support that kind of unprofessional act. Don't forget, as he has signed a contract with Enyimba, his whereabouts and his welfare is still under the custody of Enyimba. Enyimba was he kidnapped? They looked for everywhere, trying to search for him. They could not see him, only to get feelers that he's there in Israel. I think for me, this is bad, and we need to correct, this impression as well.
Chibike Nwa, who of course is not with his team, talking about Enyimba Football Club, and let's see how this one, of course, unfolded in the coming days. Shooting Stars beat Niger Tornadoes 4-1, and I think that was the highest scoreline we saw over the weekend.
Sure, 4-1. I think it's a great one. When we begin to see this kind of improvement in the area of goal scoring, the goals is actually what puts smiles and joy in the faces of fans out there. whenever you go to the stadium to watch your darling team, when the goals are coming in here and there, it gives the fans joy. They will be excited. Next time they want to turn out in their number, not sitting for a whole 90 minutes without hearing or the shout of a goal. I think most time it makes the fan very boring, and sometimes they wouldn't want to come to watch the game next time in the stadium. But whenever we have rains of goals, I think it keeps the fans on their toes. Next time they want to turn out in their numbers to cheer their darling team to victory. So for me, I think it's a nice one, and if other teams can emulate this, it will also help our league when we see rains of goal in match days.
Interesting one. Gombe United, of course, they lost to Doma United by 3 goals to 0. Michael, what do you make of it? That was the only away win we saw in March the 7th.
Massive display from Doma United, I must say, and this is the second away win this season. A very convincing win, 3 goals, so nothing against Gombe United. And this is local rivals. This is a local derby. They are just like AC Milan and Inter Milan of Syria are, because they dwell in the same state out there. And for me, one thing very striking is about the show that the keeper put up there, talking about the Doma United goalkeeper, that is Kingdom Osaye, who put up a very big display out there, giving 2 assists. I think it's a great one. This is a keeper that we need to watch out in the local league. And if the NFF have their scouting teams on ground, I think these are some of the goalkeepers that can be able to solve the puzzle and the issue of goalkeeping areas in our national team out here. We don't necessarily need to go to abroad, to England, Spain, Germany, name it, before we can be able to get a very reliable safe hand. This man has played 5 games, gave 2 assists, kept 3 clean sheets. This is a keeper that we need to watch out. So for me, I think it's a nice display from Doma United, getting all 3 points. And again, one angle we need to also talk about is about the fans. They turn out in their number. About 15,000 fans, allegedly came out for this very one. You can see that the stadium was filled to its brim, and this is one area I want to give our northern brothers kudos out there. They have this passion for the game. They always turn out in their number to support their darling team to victory, and we need to emulate that in this part of the country, talking about the south, east, southwest, just name them. Because when we have this kind of massive number of fans turning out to the stadium, for example, River United is playing, and we have such mammoth crowd in the stadium, then it gives the players extra morale to double their effort to ensure that they get unnecessary wins. So I think it was a great match. I think this is the best match I've seen since the kickoff of this
fans attendance.
Yes, in terms of fans attendance, also a away win, because this is the second away win for this season, and 3-0. I think it's a nice one.
Nice one, of course, for Doma United. Impressive display for them. They were not even intimidated with the Gombe United fans in the stadium. Let's move on and take a look at the African Football League final, as the South African side, talking about Mamelodi Sundowns, they lost at the Mohammed V Stadium with against Wydad Casablanca in the African Football League first leg final. Michael, what do you make of that particular loss for Mamelodi Sundowns?
I think it's a big blow, but for me, I think they also still have an advantage because of the away goal, that they scored. They still have a little bit of advantage. I believe there's still light at the end of the tunnel for them to, turn the tide around. Though Wydad did a great job at making sure they dispatched them by 2-1, but it is not done and dusted. It's not dead and buried as it stands right now. And one area I think CAF also should need to look into is about these 2-legged finals. I think I'm not comfortable about this. There's need for them to, look into this 2-legged final when it comes to this kind of a major competition, and try to make it 1-leg final. And such final should be played away in a neutral ground. They should choose one neutral ground and play the final. Playing a 2-legged final, it doesn't speak good of the quality of CAF as well. So for me, this is the area I think CAF should look into it deeply and try to find a way to balance, to strike a balance between these two things. Having two-legged final, I think I'm not pretty much comfortable with it. I think a final should be one-leg final, and it should be played on a neutral ground where there will be no crowd violence, because if you are playing on a neutral ground, then your fans can travel all the way from their country down there. But when playing at home, there's a little bit of advantage. This is African football. Most time, some fans naturally just want to ferment trouble if their home teams is losing. And you know what that means? It causes hooliganism. It brings violence in football, which we keep preaching against. So for me, I think CAF should look into that area. But then again, I want to give kudos to Wydad, having come this far. They already have one leg into the final. But like I said earlier, it is not dead and buried yet. There is still light at the end of the tunnel.
Not dead and buried, still light at the end of the tunnel for Melody Sundown. Can they bounce back? I'll keep our fingers crossed on that. But let's move on and bring you the latest from the English Premier League, as 9 matches were played across different centres in the Premier League over the weekend. 25 goals were scored, 42 yellow cards. There were no red card, but we saw 5 home wins, 2 away wins, and as well 2 score draw matches. But what do you make of that? Goal that was awarded to Newcastle after several checks in that particular one. Do you think the referee, of course, actually took the right decision in awarding that goal at the end of after checking so many incidents down there? Do you think it was right in awarding the goal to Newcastle? Yes, Newcastle.
Yeah. Yes, for me, I think the referee is right, because he was not quick in taking, making that decision. They had to wait. He had to wait for about 4 good minutes, to be able to speak with the men at the VAR room to be able to clarify, that issue. One of the controversy was that Arsenal fans alleged, or football fans rather, all over the world, they alleged that the ball went out of play. But for me, taking a close look at that game again, I think some portion of the ball was still on the touchline, but the major part of the ball seems to be outside of the play. But one thing is certain, that some portion of that ball was still on the touchline, and they swing that ball into the 18-yard box of Arsenal, and Arsenal couldn't deal with it. The second incident was the alleged push on the Arsenal players in the 18-yard box, which for me, looking from the prism of truth, I tell you, it wasn't a push. So for me, I think it wasn't a rash or a harsh decision by the center ref, because he had to take out his time to review. Even VR had to review it was an offside. Was it a push? Did the ball went outside of the line? All these things were considered before the goals was awarded. So for me, I think it is a goal, and there is no dispute about that, except exception of some Arsenal fans as well, who is also crying foul because of the fact that the 3-point was taken away from them, undeservedly, according by them. But for me, I think the referee did his job perfectly, because he wasn't too quick to take that decision. He had to take out some time, and I communicated with the VAR official before he could allow that goal to stand.
All right, interesting. But what do you make of the video assistant referee? Do you think the video assistant referee, of course, has done what divided you as the video assistant
referee since its introduction into the Premier League and into the world of football generally? I want to say that he has done more good in the course of officiating rather than bad. Though so many people are painting the VAR on a bad light, but for me, I think it has increased or helped the course of football officiating, since he came to board. Don't forget, there is a statistics in the Premier League that actually in 2017/2018, they say that about 82.5% of the decision taken so far has been very fair and clear out of 100%. Then in 2018/2019, they also made another survey saying that with all these statistics, it clearly tells you that there is a large amount of improvement in the course of officiating since the advent or the introduction of VAR. So for me, I think the introduction of VAR has actually helped to, checkmate some wrong calls now and then that we used to see before. But I know some people might not want to agree with this, but that is the truth. Since the introduction of VAR, it has actually helped to improve the course of officiating, because the games are changing, times are evolving. The Premier League, the fast and the speed to which it plays, a center ref without the video assistant, referee cannot be able to properly monitor some of these, technical areas where players technically, foul some fellow player before they could, bang in the goal. So for me, I think in a nutshell, I want to, say here that the VAR have helped to increase, the course, or improve the course of the game rather.
Impressive one. Let's see. Let's take a look at other results. As Nottingham Forest, of course, they beat Aston Villa by 2 goals to 0 over the weekend. Luton Town play 1-1 draw against Liverpool. Fulham, they actually lost to Manchester United by 1 goal to 0. Brentford beat West Ham United by 3 goals to 2. Burnley lost to Crystal Palace by 2 goals to 1. Everton played 1-1 draw against Brighton and Hove Albion. And Manchester City beat Bournemouth by 6 goals to 1. Sheffield United beat Wolverhampton Wanderers by 2 goals to 1. Newcastle United beat Arsenal by